All right, so we are going to walk through the Zeiss PrimoStar microscopes that we have here at Gov School. So hopefully you did the pre-lab, so you're fairly familiar with the different parts and how the microscope actually works, but I want to go through this particular brand of microscope with you. I don't know of any of the other high schools that actually have these types of microscopes, so there are some different things that you may not be used to, even if you have used a microscope in the past. And based on past years, a lot of students have never actually been able to use microscopes. They've been able to look through them where the teacher will set things up, but you're going to be familiar with taking them down, setting them up, and putting everything away properly as we go through. They always tell you to hold the arm, which would be this portion right here, and then another hand supporting the base. And you always keep them upright because many microscopes have moving parts. And so if you actually tilt them, there are parts like the head that might be able to fall off because they can come unscrewed, so you can turn them and give it more flexibility with movement. So you always make sure you hold them upright. These microscopes are a little bit different though. These are much more hardcore. We can't hold by the arm and the base because they are so heavy. In fact, this one that you were looking at here, this one actually has a camera on top of it. So this one's a little bit bigger than the ones that you're traditionally going to be using in class because this has the camera, which makes it a little bit heavier. But for this in particular, there is actually right in this area down here, there's a lot of cords in my way right here, but you won't have that. Right here, there's a little place for your fingers to go. So that's going to be located right in here. So notice this little pocket, that's where your handle actually is. So you're going to be holding it so that your fingers are holding in here and you're going to be holding the top in place. Then you're also not going to be holding the base, because that if you hold the base here, you have no way of actually setting it down without squishing your fingers and hurting quite a bit. So you will actually hold it up here by the top where the objective lenses are. So this part right here. So when you're actually holding it, your hand should be on the handle and you should be holding underneath like this. Now, if you've ever picked up another microscope, you'll notice that these are much more hefty. These are going to be a lot heavier. So that's why we have a modified way of holding it. They're meant to be held like this. So let's go over a few different parts of the microscope. Ours are binocular scopes, which means you have two different eyepieces, two oculars. These oculars are nice, in particular with this brand of microscope, because we have ways to adjust it different ways. So you can adjust it for your eye width by just rotating these like this. And then you can also adjust based on your torso height. So if you're sitting on a stool, you probably want these up higher so you can rotate them to the upper position. If you're sitting in a normal chair at a desk, you'll probably want to rotate it down unless you have a really large torso as well that's long. So then they can move down or they can move up and they adjust this way as well. We'll talk more about that in a second. This is the camera that's on it. This one, you're not going to have to deal with the camera at this point, but I just wanted to point out this is a little bit larger than the normal ones on there. Of course, you have the arm. You have your stage. This is a mechanical stage, so you will have stage clips and then knobs that will move. I'll show you that in a second. And then on your base here, your light source is down at the bottom. When you get your microscope, it should be in the put away position, which means it's on the lowest objective lens, and then everything is actually going to be turned off. So for the purposes of today, I'm using the camera because you guys can't look into it, and then I'm going to hook this up to an iPad so you can kind of see what I'm seeing on the iPad. That's one of the great things that the cameras can do is attach to the iPad so you can view it that way. All right, so you need to go through and familiarize yourself with the different parts of it, and then I'm going to show you how to turn it on. So the on switch is actually on the right-hand side of the microscope. It is this little switch here. It says on/off. Then you're just going to turn it away from you, and then notice you will see these lights. These lights will tell you the light level at which that you're using the microscope. So this is one way to adjust the lighting that you have. When we're using the iPads, you generally need more light, but for you guys, at no point is it probably okay to actually have all these lights on. Having all these lights on gives you too much light and it washes out your specimen so you can't see it. So generally I tell people to start at either having 2 or 3 lights that are going to be on. So now my microscope is on. I'm going to go ahead and put a slide on there. So the first slide I'm going to use is going to be the simple squamous epithelium. So the label will tell you exactly what it is. This circle over here is going to be where your specimen is going to be. And generally you can actually see the specimen that's on there because they're going to be dyed in some way. So you'll see that dark spot. When you want to place these in there, you're going to want to use the arm on the stage to open up that area. And then you're going to slide the slide in so that it is bracketed by this side with the metal. as well as this edge over here. So the vertical and horizontal edges are all running flush with the metal, and then this arm is going to hold it in place in the corner. So I could actually at this point pick up my microscope and tilt it. My slide's not going anywhere because it is going to be held flush within it. When you're having the mechanical stage, you can use these two knobs down here at the bottom on the right-hand side of your stage, because again, most people are right-handed, so it's created for a right-handed person. And you have the top knob, which is going to move the slide back and forward. Then you have the bottom knob down here, which is going to move right and left. So you need to look through the eyepieces and then move it so that the specimen is actually going to be right above the light. And if you look on the stage, you can see the light coming in, and you can kind of do that ahead of time by looking at it. And you can see it's kind of centered on here with this label over here, and in the circle we have the actual specimen. When you're ready to start using your microscope, the first thing you're going to do is look through the oculars. When you look through, what you will see are circles. That circle you see is your field of view. You should only see a single circle though. So as you're looking through this, you're going to have to move the eyepieces and rotate them until the point when looking through with both eyes open that you only see one circle. If you see two distinct circles or two circles that are overlapping, you need to keep adjusting to get the measurement for your actual eyes. Then you can see the distance apart is going to be because there are measurement marks right in here. So you have this black dot right here. You just line it up with whatever number is here, and that's going to be the measurement that you use. Memorize that, because every time you use a microscope, your eye width is not changing, so you can automatically move it to that. One thing you have to keep in mind is if you are sharing a microscope, which your partner may need to adjust that as well, so they might have a different eye width than you are. All right, so when you're sketching these, you're going to have to get everything in as focused as you possibly can. So notice this actually has a screw. You can't see it from here. You can see right-hand side, there's a screw right in here. This allows you to actually move the eyepieces. So again, if you're sharing a microscope with someone, instead of trying to shift the whole microscope, all you do is going to rotate it. So I'm going to go ahead and just actually move the microscope because it will move all my controls otherwise. All right, so I'm looking at my specimen, and there's a whole lot of light that's going on there. So with that whole lot of light, I'm going to decrease the light by that on and off switch that I have. More light is not necessarily better. You want to have good contrast and good light. So that's one way to do it, is adjusting on the side. You can see that here as it adjusts. Another way to adjust is going to be the iris diaphragm underneath. So underneath the stage, there's this little tab that's sticking out, and if you look at it, it'll read 100 times, 40 times, and 10 times. When you're at the higher magnifications, you need more light. See, you can actually see my circle of light down here that's changing as I move my iris diaphragm. At the lower magnifications, you only need a little bit of light pretty much. So I'm going to adjust that so I'm going to get good contrast so I can actually see my specimen. One thing you have to be careful of is making sure that you're actually focusing on your specimen and not the junk on top of the slide. And it's unfortunate that the lighting doesn't really let you show. Let's see if you can get closer to this. All right, so you should see this little rectangle of tissue in there. So I'm going to try to hold this in point. Right in here. So this is my actual specimen. Notice there's a bunch of junk around it. And most of my focus is actually on the junk on top. So you need to make sure that you're not focusing on dust that's on top of it, but rather the specimen underneath. So I'm going to have to go through and focus a little bit more. So I'm going beyond what's on top and focusing downward to my specimen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So when you want to focus, you have two different knobs for focusing. The focus is going to be here on knobs, and you have it on either side, the right or left-hand side. The big knob that's closest to the base, that's your coarse adjustment. It makes very large, dramatic movements of the stage up and down, so you can see that physically moving. The fine focus is going to be this little knob right in here. I personally use the right side, and the right side, the dial is a little bit different. It has little depressions where your fingers can fit in for the fine focus, and it's easier to adjust the fine focus on the right side, but it's also harder to do the coarse adjustment because the knob's not quite as big. So you figure out what works for you. So when I'm looking at this, the easiest thing to do if you're having trouble finding your actual specimen is to make sure that your stage is actually as close up to the objective as possible. We always start on low power or scanning. So low power, this objective says is 4 times. We of course multiply that times the ocular, which is going to be 10 times. Notice the distance I have between that. This is the lowest portion of the stage right now. So I'm going to move it upward. So I'm going to look through as I'm moving upward. And by default, I should move all the way up as close as I can to begin with, always starting on low power. So when I want to focus on it, I'm going to bring it down. So I'm bringing my stage down until I get to my specimen. So I can get it to about the right spot that I'm looking for. And then I'm going to use my coarse adjustment, which also moves the stage, to get it almost in focus. But if it's a little bit hard to get it all the way in focus, then I will use my fine adjustment. So then I'm going to use my fine. Sometimes you'll find that you just cannot get it in focus no matter what. And sometimes that means your slide is upside down. Make sure the label is always on top, because if your specimen is actually on the bottom of the slide, you're never going to focus it. Another reason could be are these ocular lenses. You can actually rotate the ocular lenses to get a little bit of focus on here to find the specimen. This is especially important if you have multiple people using the microscope. If your vision is slightly different than someone else's, when they look through the microscope and see it clearly, you're not going to. So you use the fine focus and you rotate these eyepieces to get it in focus as well. All right, so under scanning, scanning is called scanning because you're just scanning the slide you're finding with your specimen. You're not going to see a whole lot of detail, especially if we're talking about human tissue. So once I get it completely under focus and completely centered where I want it to be, then I will rotate the nose piece clockwise and I will go to the low power objective. This low power or medium power objective, if you call this scanning, you can call this low or medium, but medium is what we're going to generally call it, has the yellow band on it. It is a 10 times magnification times 10, so that's 100 times magnification. So again, you're going to look through and then you're going to focus as much as you possibly can. You can use your coarse adjustment, but you probably only need to use your fine adjustment at this point if you were completely under focus. These microscopes are what we refer to as parfocal and parcentral. That means that on your lower power, as long as you are focused and centered, when you move to the next higher power, you're still going to be kind of focused and pretty well centered. So each time it keeps it that way. So again, I don't know if you can actually see these very well. I will try to get closer so you can see it. So here, you can actually see individual cells on here. This is simple squamous, and it's a top view of the simple squamous tissue, or a whole mount of it. When I'm asking you to identify cells that are in there, you need to be able to see the individual cells. So I can see them pretty well under low power, but I'm going to go ahead and move to high power. Now, as I move to high power, I notice I actually need a little bit more light to see it clearly. So I'm going to go to my iris diaphragm and I'm going to move up that lighting a bit. So now under high power, I can actually see nuclei. So I'm going to see if you can see that. So you can see the little cells that are scale-like, almost squarish, but not quite, and then dark circles inside, which are the nuclei. So that is the magnification I want, because for this one, it's asking me to look at simple squamous and then label simple squamous. So when I say labeling, I want to just make sure for this one in particular, plasma membrane and nucleus, and that's really all you're going to be able to see with it. Whenever you're trying to find something on a slide, make sure you read the handout, because oftentimes it will tell you that you need to label something, and you need to make sure that your field of view is such that you can see all the things that need to be labeled, and that you're going to be able to draw it that way. So what we find is, as I start on low power, I can see more of the specimen. I can see the whole tissue sample, but I can't see distinct cells. So when I'm drawing this under low power or scanning, I should draw it so I can see what I'm actually seeing in the circle. So I would just draw a rectangle, and then I might have little squigglies a little bit on there, but you really can't see that detail. Then when you move up to this medium power and you're drawing it here, now I'm seeing less of the sample. So I should draw it as I see it. And then I can see a little bit of some of the dots in there that are nuclei, but not a whole lot. And then so when I go to high power and I draw it now I should be able to draw distinctive cells. So I should be able to draw the plasma membrane. I should draw the nucleus that's in there, and it will cover the whole circle, as opposed to over here where you're only getting this big rectangle that was in there. So what I'm looking for when you're drawing these is a progression. On low power, you see the whole sample here. Then you see less of it, and you see less of it, but each time the structures are becoming bigger. So that's what I'm looking for when you're drawing it. There is a video on how to draw cells that I would like you to watch as well. That's going to be in your lab resources folder. People get inundated with all the tiny details, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a general overview of what it looks like, especially taking care to label whatever part I'm telling you you need to focus on. So for this one, this is simple squamous epithelium. I want to see the actual individual squamous cells, and I will tell you to label the plasma membrane and nucleus. So you need to make sure that you can see that clearly. The only thing different that you're doing from the video is the video was doing everything in like pen or pencil. You're going to be using colored pencils for this. So you each have your set of colored pencils, and I want you to draw it with color as you go through for the different parts. So that's what you're looking at with it. So for each slide that you have, make sure you look at what it tells you that you need to label, and then make sure that you're focusing on that part of it. So in particular later on, so for instance, the simple cuboidal epithelium that you'll have to draw and the simple columnar epithelium, unlike the simple squamous is all simple squamous. But when we're looking at the simple cuboidal, it's actually a section of a kidney, and only certain parts are actually simple cuboidal. And I'm going to see if I can go ahead and show you that. All right, so as we're looking through the slide, we're going to have to view different parts of it. So when I'm looking at the overall slide, actually, let me go back to low power. And then medium. So here, looking at it, it just looks like a mass of pink squiggles that are all over the place. At no point can you see simple cuboidal cells. So we're going to have to move the stage around to actually find the portion of the slide that we're looking for that has the cuboidal cells. So you're not going to be able to see the individual cells until you get to high power, which is that 400 times magnification. So you want to go ahead and get it in focus, and then once you get it in focus, you can just start moving the stage. And as you move the stage, then you'll be able to see different sections of it. So I'm going to move to this part right here. I'm going to try to focus it a bit. And sometimes the focus on the iPad's a little bit different than in the actual space here. One of the other differences is obviously that this is going to be a rectangle as opposed to the circle that you see. So this is actually a smaller view than what is actually in the microscope. So for the simple cuboidal, that's actually going to be, you see these little white spots that are in there? Those white spots are actually just empty space because it's a tubule. So in the kidney, there are these tubes that are running up and down next to each other throughout the kidney. The white is empty space where different fluids would flow through. But the lining around it, this little lighter pink circle that you're seeing, those are lined with simple cuboidal cells. And it's a little hard to see the distinct cells, but you can see the darker nuclei that are in there. That's how you will know that those are individual cells, when you see the darker nuclei that are in it. So with this particular lab, just make sure that you know what you're looking for ahead of time and that you can actually identify it. I'm okay with you guys Googling to see what you're supposed to be looking for, but when you're drawing, draw it actually from the microscope slide. This lab, doing this lab appropriately, will make the other labs throughout the year easier because you're going to be using microscopes. You're going to be looking at histology. You're going to be looking at individual cells. So the more familiar you are with the microscope now, the faster your labs will go on later. And then, of course, make sure that when you're done, you completely go to low power, you turn everything off, and then you put the dust cover back on, and then it's ready for the next person.